I just did want to say a few words about our organization, Money Out, Voters In. You know, I first got involved in this issue, now I'm counting, I think it's been 4 or 5 years ago, when I first saw a film called The Corporation. How many people have seen that? It was a 2008 Canadian documentary. And it really opened my eyes. I mean, the issue that I was so deeply concerned about was, as I'm sure many of us are, was climate change, species extinction, and just, you know, the very deep sadness that I felt when I realized that so many of the things that we enjoyed as children in our own lives were not things we were going to be able to pass on to future generations, and that was really felt so tragic. And it was that film, The Corporation, that opened my eyes up to the role that sort of dominance of the corporate form has had in the destruction of the environment. And, you know, so many, you know, wonderful things, yes, but also a lot of negative things. And shortly after that, Citizens United happened. Well, and I got really into the issue, I'd never heard of it before, corporate constitutional rights. And in that film, they told the story, I won't go into it, but of the 1886 case that first established this idea that corporations should be entitled to constitutional rights. And then Citizens United happened, and it was like, oh my God, that's corporate constitutional rights, geez, you know. And so I was trying to figure out, you know, what to do, because, you know, I think a lot of us feel kind of like a sense of deep despair over so many issues. We don't know where to start. And so I just got it in my mind that that was the thing I was going to start with. And so I started organizing, and I have an idea that I'm going to tell you about, which was really one of the things that kind of motivated me to begin with, but I'm going to get to that later. But I sort of started saying, well, if I'm going to do this other thing, I've got to figure out, I've got to learn something about grassroots organizing. And so started first organizing with Move On, then really started organizing with Move to Amend around the issue of a constitutional amendment. Also got involved with the people who are doing the Represent Us campaign with the American Anti-Corruption Act. And sort of through that process came to kind of develop Money Out, Voters In as an organization that was really ground up, so that it's really, you know, we're all volunteers, and we basically make our own decisions about what we want to do and what we're going to support. And kind of, from that process, we really have decided that as an organization, MOVI really wants to be an inclusive organization. So, you know, we support, our main goal is still the constitutional amendment, corporations aren't people, money isn't speech. But we also support legislation. In terms of strategy, you know, we support the resolutions that we've been working to pass, you know, the 1272 that was Michelle's inspiration, that she just, you know, has driven forward. AJR1, the Constitutional Convention strategy. So we're kind of doing it all according to our own interests as individuals and what we want to pursue. So that's Money Out, Voters In, MOVI. And so I also wanted to make a pitch for people, anybody who feels that that kind of an organization would fit with them. We meet monthly, you know, we're just launching, especially focusing on 1272 now. We've been focusing on the Disclose Act all along as well, so, but, you know, so we need new people, new blood, new help. So I did want anybody who's, and also Santa Barbara. So, you know, again, since we're not a national organization with sort of like a national strategy, we're kind of growing in this organic way. So we actually have our first additional chapter, which is in Santa Barbara, and they're sitting back here. Is John and Mike? Yeah. And then we also have the Long Beach chapter. So it's kind of growing according to, like, people come along and say, that sounds right for us, you know, and so, and then we're like, you know, here's our mission statement, pretty simple. If you share the mission, then you go girl, or you go boy. So, and I also did want to take this little bit of opportunity I have to tell you about a project that I've been very passionate about. It's kind of the thing that got me started. It was a vision I had it actually started with as a kind of an idea of creating a social network of people who are committed to change. It kind of has evolved now into a mobile app. And the consideration of how to use new technology to organize all of these people who are so concerned, or not so concerned, but still, or feel that there's nothing that can be done about it, but still the 96% of people who think that special interest money has too much control over our political process. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about it. It's called We Ripple, And what it is, it's kind of an antidote of the feeling of like, you're starting to do something so big and you feel like, is this endless? Am I making any difference? And what this app will do is it will actually show every individual who joins the campaign their exact impact on the campaign in real time and in real numbers by showing you everybody that you bring into the campaign. But not only that, it'll show you that everybody that they bring into the campaign and everybody they bring into the campaign into an infinite number of levels. You'll be able to see your impact on the campaign grow in real time and in real numbers, so that you'll be able to get up in the morning, and if you're feeling kind of discouraged, you'll be able to look at your phone and say, oh my God, 10,000 more people just joined this campaign as a result of me, me and all the people that I brought into it. So it's just, in a sense, it's an antidote to that kind of burnout and despair. But even more powerful is that, whoops, I guess we went too far here. Oh no, I messed up. Oh well. So this is the infinite number of degrees. But even more powerful is that as people join the campaign, they'll be sorted into their congressional districts and state legislative districts. And then every district will have a numerical target for how many voters you need to be able to unseat candidates. So we'll be able to see in real time and in real numbers the progress we're making towards building support for both the convention, the Article 5 convention, and enough support that we can actually get 2/3 of pro-amendment candidates elected to Congress. So one of the things that makes games so addictive, actually, is the ability to have instant feedback. And so this is what this is going to do to build this movement. So the campaign, the thing that you'll do when you join the campaign is you take a pledge. And this is some version of the pledge. Is basically your pledge to only vote for candidates who support an amendment to get big money out of politics. It might take a more specific language at some point, but that's the general idea. And so then the vision goes further, which is if we could use this app to build this amazing social network of politically empowered people around this issue that has such overwhelming support, 96%, 97%, then we would have people organized already into voter blocks, and then we could become the ALEC for the 99%. We could proactively start to vote on the issues that we want to address. Climate change, I mean, my personal would be the next pieces of legislation would be the Climate Change Solutions Act. And I've also been doing research. I met last couple months ago with James Fishkin at the Stanford Center for Deliberative Democracy. They've been doing a lot of experiments in new forms of democratic empowerment. That's something they do called deliberative polling, where they get 150 to 200 people that are a representative sampling of the population, and they bring them together, expose them to the pros and cons of a challenge or an argument, and then actually they come back with a legislative, sometimes binding, sometimes it's just it's a legislative solution that's a proposal. But there's all kinds of ways that we could actually interact with the democratic process using the technological tools that we now have at our disposal to really create not just some version of the old democracy, but truly a new democracy. And so that's the vision that I've kind of turned my passion to. So today, I've been trying to raise money. It turns out, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that much money, but when I'm talking to some of the Silicon Valley developers, they said to do this right is like at least $500,000. So to me, that sounds like a lot of money, but anyway. But, so I've been kind of doing the route, trying to find like some big money donors. It's very ironic. So now finally I've just said, okay, got to do a crowdfunding campaign. And so I have an artist who's actually developing a 2 to 3 minute video. We're going to launch this crowdfunding campaign in the next month or two. And we have a very simple website up. My husband just built it, weripple.com. So if you go to the website, just register, then you'll be on our list. And also, I'm networking, and Movi as well. Movi would, all the organizations out there, I'm hoping, the app is for them to build support, as well as for us individually through our social networks. But go to weripple.com, get on the list, and then and commit to start a Ripple when we get it built, and commit to helping. I mean, even if it was just $1, $2. I mean, think if you start to work within your social networks too to help with this crowdfunding campaign, and we can get this built. I believe that this could really be a gateway to a new kind of democracy, because we're it's, it's going to happen. It's just, I would love to see us in a crowd-funded way, the people build a network, a social network that was not corporately controlled, but was controlled by us, that then we could really be proactive in creating the kind of future that we really want.